Hello everybody, hope you all are doing good out there. Sometimes when you use a knife for a while, the pivot will loosen up a little bit, or the blades will wear in and you'll get a little bit of blade wobble. That has happened with this particular case trapper, and I'm going to fix that today. You can see it the most with the spay blade. You can see that there's just a little bit of wiggle. Not much, you can feel it more than you can see it. And it's really not enough to ever affect the use of the knife. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch it in a vise. I'm going to use rubber to pad the bolster here on each side, and I'm going to pinch it very carefully and cautiously because I absolutely do not want to do it too much. Now unfortunately I cannot film my doing it in a vise because it's too dark in the barn and I can't get enough light to get a good picture. So I'm going to pad either side of this bolster, and I'm going to very lightly clamp this in the vise. And when I do that, it'll tighten the bolster, and it will also cause the pin to protrude, maybe just on one side, maybe on both. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll check back in. Okay, so I went ahead and tightened this bolster, and you're going to see that pin sticking out. See that? Now, make sure you work the knife back and forth, opening up the blades and so on, making sure that, first off, the wobble's out, and that it has enough snap. If it's too tight, you can work the blades. It'll usually loosen up. There's other ways to fix that, but I'll do that in another video. The thing we got to do now is we're going to peen this pin. If you'll notice, the back pin looks good. So thankfully I like it better when just one side moves instead of both. Causes you don't, that way you don't have to peen both sides, at least I usually don't. So what we're going to do here is I've got this block of metal here. You could just set it on a vise. This is just the easiest way that I normally go about it. And the way that I do this is I lay it on there like this. And this might be a kind of an odd way of doing it, but I go ahead and I just taper right on there. That's how I normally do it. That way the knife kind of holds itself steady, and I find that to be a big help while I'm doing this because it allows me to use both hands. Now this is a redneck way of doing it, not good camera skills, so sorry about that. Strap it down on one side, pull it tight on the other, and that's going to keep my knife secure on here. Now, the way I'm going to go about this, see if I can get this camera where y'all can see it, is I am going to take this punch right here, and I am going to be working right on the pin, kind of going around the edges, and I'm just going to try to peen or mushroom out the top of this pin is what I'm doing right here. And just go slow, take your time. Now it's important as we do this to make sure that we're getting this pin peened out completely. That way we'll have a good hold. You don't want to apply a lot of force when you do this, but you want to work around the pin pretty evenly. So I'm going to keep doing this, and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so I've kept going around that pin there, as you can see, and you can see that it's really mushroomed it down pretty good. So I believe this looks good. It's time to take it inside and start sanding. Again, make absolutely sure that you've got good action. No wiggle. Good snap. Again, no wobble. Good snap. If you were having problems there where it wasn't closing right, you would stick a filler gauge between the liner and the tang, a really thin filler gauge, and then you would close the blade slightly to give you a little more clearance. That looks perfect to me. I'm going to start off with 1000 grit sandpaper, and we're going to sand all this flush and even. Now I'm not going for the pin to be completely seamless where that it can't be spotted at all. A lot of new cases you can see the pin under the light, but I don't want it to be where you can catch it with your fingernail. So that's what I'm going for. I'm not wanting to do too much. I'm wanting to do just the right amount. I usually wet my sandpaper when I do this. Now, sometimes I lay it right down on the table if I'm needing to take off a lot of material in a certain direction. But when you're trying to blend it in, it's best to hold it on a somewhat soft surface, at least from my experience. Now, I'm not meaning to tell y'all how to do all this stuff, because all this stuff is extremely dangerous in terms of the health of the knife when you do it. And you can't really advise somebody to do something like this unless they're willing to have a disaster. But if you're crazy enough like I am and you're a redneck, you can tackle these tasks and they're not too difficult. Not too difficult at all to remedy. But we're just going to keep working on it just like that. And you're going to start to see see that shiny area right around the pin? That's where we've got to get all that to blend in together. And when we get all that to blend in and to have a nice even scratch mark, we'll know that we've went low enough with our sandpaper. So I'm just going to keep on doing this instead of boring y'all, and I'll come back here in a little bit. Okay, so I've got this sanded down with 1000 grit. It's not perfect, but I'm going to go ahead and buff this, because I don't like to remove too much material, so I'm going to buff it, and if there's any place I need to do more, I'll go back and sand more. Now I'm using just plain old white compound. Now, I used to always go down to 2000 grit sandpaper, but anymore I just kind of do 1000 and go from there and see what I need to do, because it just takes a second to buff a knife, and after you do that you can really see to adjust where you need to sand more or whatever you need to do, low spots, high spots, that kind of stuff. So I like to do the buffing next. Okay, the only place I'm seeing where I need to do a little more work is about right there where my thumb is. See that about just a little to the side of 6 o'clock? I'm going to do a little more sanding there from the indentions where I was using my punch. And I'm going to buff it out again. And I'll be back after I do that to show you all the finished product. Okay, so we just got the knife buffed. Just finished it. I went ahead and did all the bolsters on it. Well, you know, front, back, and both sides, top, bottom. Did the back springs. But you can see that bolster looks good. You can see me in it. So yeah, you can see this works really good. Last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some of Hillbilly Ridge Outdoors, his wax, on this knife. He made a video a day or two ago showing how to make this wax. It's a pretty neat video. If y'all are interested, you all can go to his channel and look at his video on how he makes his fixin' wax. It does a really good job on these bone handles like this. Now, when I do a bolster like this, if you try this, don't be looking for absolute perfection in terms of cosmetics. You're not going to get that bolster absolutely perfect unless it's just by happenstance. At least that's my experience. From the factory, they're all different, and usually you can see the pin, or it's a little uneven or something, so don't worry a whole lot about it if it is. The goal is to make it look good and work good. And as you carry that knife, that bolster is going to get dinged, nicked, and scratched anyway if you love the knife and use it. Here's a great example of that. This old 087 jack, look at the bolster. I can get it as shiny as I want it. You can see all those nicks and dings. Sure, I could sand them out. Notice you can see the pin. Why would I do that? It's the character of the knife. Here's another example. This is a new knife. I haven't carried it much. Notice you can see the pin on both sides there. And so, like I say, we got it looking better than this one looks right from the factory. And don't just think it's the new knives. I've run into a lot of older case knives where you can see the pin, and that goes right along with the other companies, except for the ones that are using other kinds of pivots like old timer uses. I think they call it, I forgot the word. It's either Svinden or Swindon pivot. But it's a rivet, and it's a different style. Now I'm just going to kind of wipe this wax off. What do y'all think of these blue bone knives like this? I think they're really pretty, but I like the color blue. Another thing to say about these particular knives is Case tends to leave them square when they heft them, where some of the other knives are more rounded, and I find that very interesting. This trapper weighs a whole the way I remember it, it's 5 ounces more than some of my other trappers, and I believe it's 10 ounces more than some other trappers I have. And, I mean, I'm talking bone trappers, and that's pretty wild. Okay, we're outside now where we got better lighting, so this is the finished product. I think it turned out great. What do y'all think? It's a beautiful knife, ain't it? I need to carry this knife more. I haven't carried it much at all, mainly because the blades were a little loose. But oh, it's a really beautiful knife. I need to really carry it more. Now, I did wash this knife out completely after I buffed it, before I put the wax on it. But boy, it sure turned out pretty. The Trapper from Case is an absolutely wonderful, wonderful EDC knife, that's for sure. The peanut butter blade, I mean the spay blade, that's what you use to put your peanut butter on your bread. So, comment down below. What do y'all think about this? Have you all tried it? What do you do different? All these kind of things. But I think it works really well, and this is the way I go about it. Again, I'm a redneck, so do it all with caution, but this is how I go about it. Y'all have a good day, and keep your knives sharp.